The Big Brain Book, an alphabetical guide to knowledge. Fine arts. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Dr. Seuss. Fine art allows us to express and communicate our emotions and experiences using methods that vary from playing a piano to writing a poem. These expressions vary greatly from one person to the next, but we can learn to appreciate each other by having an open mind to another person's point of view and interests. Abstract. Abstract art uses form, color, and shapes to create non-representational artworks that are meant to inspire and stimulate unique emotions in individuals based on their own personal tastes. Painters Matthew Dibble and Lee Ellis have styles that are very different. Sometimes using a less is more philosophy. Other times, artists use brilliant displays to connect with people based on color and form. Ballet. Ballet is an artistic dance form performed to music while using precise, highly formalized steps and gestures. Ballet is traced back to the 1500s in Italy, but when Catherine de' Medici of Italy married King Henry II of France, she introduced the early dance styles of the Italian masked and costumed dancers she had known back home into court life in France. The French evolved ballet, and by the 1700s it had spread to Russia. The Russian Tsar, Peter the Great, was responsible for bringing ballet to Russia after watching a performance in France. Conductor. A conductor is a person who directs the performance of an orchestra or choir. They shape the sound of the instruments and give life to the music. Hand gestures were first used in medieval times in the small choirs as a way for the conductor to communicate with the musicians. Later, the conductors would use rolled-up paper. Conductors today use a baton to enhance the same hand gestures still used today. Doodle. Doodles are rough drawings made absent-mindedly. They are composed of simple shapes that often have no meaning to them, as the artist is sometimes concentrating on something else entirely. Doodles can help inspire an artist to develop later artwork. Artists will often keep notebooks full of doodles. Embroidery. Embroidery is the art of decorating fabrics with colored threads and stitches. Stitching styles can include the coral stitch, the bean stitch, and the arrowhead stitch. Throughout history, embroidery has been associated with high status or royalty, as only the wealthy could afford it. It has been found all over the ancient world. Cultures such as the Vikings and the Chinese used embroidery not only to decorate their clothing, but to display large, elaborate wall tapestries in their homes. Film. 35mm film is a widely popular film format used by photographers. The images are captured on a flexible strip of celluloid inside a camera and then developed into photographs. Graffiti. The first drawings on walls appeared in caves thousands of years ago. Later, the ancient Romans and Greeks wrote their names and protest poems on buildings and city walls. Modern graffiti art first appeared in Philadelphia in the early 1960s. Local tagger, as the artists are called, Daryl Cornbread McCrae, is widely known to be the father of modern-day graffiti art. Heavy metal. With its roots dating back to the great blues musicians of the 1920s, heavy metal music is best described as fast and vigorous riffs, drum beats, and vocals. Heavy metal has evolved over the decades, as all music does, to include varied styles and sounds with each new generation of metal fans. This helped increase its popularity and continuing success. Subgenres of heavy metal include glam, thrash, grunge, new wave, British heavy metal, and power metal, with each style creating its own unique followers. Intonation. In language, intonation in speech is shown by the rising or falling of the voice to express emotions such as sadness or surprise. In musical terms, intonation is the accuracy of pitch in playing or singing, or on a stringed instrument like an acoustic guitar.
J. Jewelry.
The origins of jewelry can be traced back to ancient civilizations such as Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley. Early jewelry was often crafted from natural materials like shells, bones, and stones. It could be worn for both aesthetic and spiritual purposes. The torque was a style of jewelry worn around the neck or arm, and was popular among many groups of ancient peoples, including the Celts, Egyptians, and Norse. Made of metal and beautifully decorated, they were worn to show status. This could be a high status in society, or to show a warrior's fighting skills he has shown in battle and war.
K. Carat.
A carat is a measure of the purity of gold. Pure gold is 24 carat, with the quality decreasing from there. For example, 18 carats is 18 parts gold, with the remaining 6 parts of the 24 being composed of other metals.
L.
Linear perspective. Linear perspective is a technique that's used to create the illusion of depth on a flat surface. The parallel lines of the train tracks appear to converge on a single spot called the vanishing point on the composition's horizon line to give the viewer a sense of depth or distance.
M. Muse.
The 9 muses from Greek mythology were the goddesses of music, singing, dancing, and an inspiring source to poets. They were also goddesses of knowledge who remembered all things that had come to pass. Their images were commonly used on funeral vases with the belief their loved ones would enjoy the muses' artistic talents as they journeyed to the afterlife.
N. Note.
Musical notes are individual sounds that make up the basis for all music. The notes are different in the way they look and also in their duration. Once they are written down on paper, you can arrange them and give them names like middle C. It's called middle C because it falls right in the middle of a piano keyboard. Opera singers use notes in various ways to create different sounds. Trill is the very rapid alternation of pitch between 2 adjacent notes. This is used to add richness to a performance.
O. Origami.
Origami is the ancient Japanese art of folding paper into decorative shapes and figures. The literal meaning of origami is fold, ori, and paper, kami. NASA engineers use origami to design sunshades in space to block starlight. By folding the sunshades, they fit into smaller rockets and are then unfolded to cover a larger area.
P. Painting.
Painting can be traced back to prehistory with its roots in cave paintings from our ancestors. Today's genres include Cubism, wildlife art, and Baroque. During the rise of Christianity in the Middle Ages, the artists were focused primarily on religious paintings.
Q. Quilting.
Quilting is a method of stitching together layers of fabric in unique and decorative ways. Historically, it has been used to tell stories through the use of different patterns. In medieval Europe, quilted clothing was worn under metal armor for comfort.
R. Red.
The color red is significant in many cultures. It is associated with love and anger in Western culture, while it symbolizes good fortune and joy in Asian cultures. For this reason, it's a prominent color in Asian weddings to bring love, fertility, and good luck.
S. Sand sculpture.
Sand sculpting involves creating complex works of art using nothing but sand and water. Sand artists incorporate design elements in thoughtful and creative ways.
T. Treble clef.
In early medieval times, the treble clef started out as a letter G on the grand staff. Over time, that letter evolved into the shape that we use today. The treble clef is used to identify the different pitches on the staff and also to note the higher range of vocalists.
U. Underdrawing.
An underdrawing is used by an artist as a visual guide before starting a painting. It's sometimes made with chalk or charcoal, but it can also be a watercolor or a simple lead pencil drawing. It is drawn directly onto canvas or work area and lets the artist get a mental picture of details like color or composition. It's a great way to work out changes or problems with the design and see what the finished painting might look like beforehand.
Vinyl.
A vinyl record is a flat plastic disc with a spiral groove inscribed into it with sound or music. The first 33 RPM revolutions per minute vinyl album was produced in 1948. This allowed recording artists to release albums with more than one song. Albums that achieve high record sales will earn certification based upon the numbers sold. For example, when an album sells 1 million copies, it will earn the title platinum.
W.
Working distance. The distance from the front of your camera to the object you are taking the photograph of. The paparazzi will always show celebrities kindness and respect when taking a photo.
X.
Xylography. Xylography is an ancient wood engraving technique originating in China during the 1st century and is considered the oldest known method of engraving. The raised areas of the block are inked and then pressed onto paper or fabric, thus transferring the image.
Y. Yodeling.
Yodeling evolved in the central region of Switzerland in rural alpine communities as a vital form of communication. It was used to call cow herds, but more importantly, it was used as communication by villages that were separated by deep alpine valleys and rugged terrain. Over time, it became a traditional part of alpine culture, folklore, and music.
Z.
Z-pattern layout. When reading, your eyes will naturally move from left to right and then top to bottom. First, the eyes scan from the top left to the top right, then down and to the left side, and again back across to the right side. When the viewer's eyes are moving in this pattern, an imaginary Z-shape is formed in the mind. This can be a useful tool to an artist that wants to draw the viewer's attention to certain sections of a painting or a drawing. The blue colors and tints of the barn swallow's feathers against the yellow-orange sky represent complementary colors and also help focus the viewer's eye.